What's up, guys? Today I'm going to go over this boot here. I've had these for a while. Um, Bought them maybe like 10, 11 months ago or so. It's a Wesco Hendrik. It's on the MP95 last. The leather is from Maryam Tannery. It's their TPR horse. The color is Bruciato. Bruciato. I don't know how to pronounce it. Kind of like an orangish, light orange color or so. It was a little lighter in color when I first got it. It's darkened up a little with wear, but still pretty close to what it was when I first got it. This was a makeup from the shop called Franklin and Poe that I got them from. They were like a run that they did of them. It's got all brass eyes, uh, a V bar sole here, and a block heel. Wesco says it's a 7-inch height boot, but their heights are kind of weird. It's the same height as like a 6-inch boot from anyone else. But yeah, they just say it's 7. Um, I guess they measure it differently or something. The leather, pretty stiff. Like I think I've had it for around 10, 11 months, somewhere around there. I've probably got somewhere around 3 months of total wear on it. The leather is still pretty stiff. Like it hasn't softened up all that much. The tongue is in the same leather. Uh, when I first got it, I tried to since it's since it's gusseted. I tried to do the S fold on it, what I normally do with like PNW boots, but the leather was just so stiff it wouldn't do that. So I had to go with the you can see there that W fold. Um, that kind of sucked. Like where it creases here, that really pressed into the bottom of my leg there. So I would get like these pressure points during the day. So that kind of sucked, but it has broken in since then. It's fine now. Like that fold there has softened up, and it doesn't bother me anymore. But for the first, I don't know, maybe a couple weeks of wearing it or so, that kind of sucked. Um, yeah, just the tongue was just pretty stiff. A lot better now though. We can check how how thick this stuff is. So about 2.6 millimeters there, and then yeah, a little over 2.5 there. Uh, Sizing for this on the MP95 last, I'm a 12D Brannick, and these are in 11.5D. It's kind of a probably a weird fitting last for a lot of people, I would think. It fits me really well, just because the MP95 last, it's it's pretty wide in the at the ball of the foot, and then it narrows down a lot. It isn't anywhere near as narrow as like the 1339 from Wesco. Uh, but those kind of last fit me really well, where they're real wide at the ball and then they narrow down a lot on the back half. Uh, yeah, just it fits me really well at 11.5D, which this is. The toe box is pretty flat, and there's not a lot of volume in there. Um, I could see a lot of people having a problem with that if they went down a half down. Um, Works fine for me though. Everywhere else, I don't know, pretty regular. Like the instep isn't all that low. I wouldn't say it's high volume everywhere else or anything like that. We're probably pretty average as far as volume goes everywhere else. Um, just it is pretty narrow through the back half. So if you've got a kind of like a chubby foot back there, maybe half down wouldn't be the move for you. But you can manipulate the volume, just because Wesco's they have this removable leather insole thing, so it would be pretty easy to just take this out. I don't know about wearing it just without it, just because the nails and stuff are exposed down there. But like you could take this out and replace it with something else that's maybe thinner or even thicker, if you wanted to. So you could manipulate the volume that way if you want. Um, but yeah, just the toe box is pretty flat. So and it's structured also. So your toes feel pretty at least mine do, with the insole in and stuff. They feel pretty confined, not like smushed or anything, but like when I try to move my toes, you come up against that hard toe stiffener. Um, yeah, it's been a great boot so far. Um, I like it. The Like I said, the leather's darkened a little, but like it doesn't change all that much. Um, all I've really done kind of is kind of scuffed it. That's in some places. That's pretty much the major change of it. I love the look of it. Wesco is kind of like has like this distinct look aesthetically, that's separate from the other PNW makers. And I think that's pretty cool. It doesn't just look like all the other PNW makers boots that kind of look very similar. They do a lot of stuff different, like like the collar of it, this top of it, pretty unique, as opposed to the other PNW makers. The construction is different. It's a stitch down boot. Uh, they don't use like leather shanks like the other PNW makers. Uh, they have a thermoplastic heel counter, and that's probably the only thing that I not dislike, but I think I would like it more if it was a leather heel counter. Like you can see, I can just push it in there. If you take like something like anything from the other PNW makers that have like a real beefy heel counter, like I can push that and it doesn't budge at all. So yeah, I'm not too big of a fan for that. But I mean that's just me nitpicking. It doesn't make it unwearable or anything. I just kind of like the feel of a more solid heel counter. But yeah, it's stitched down. It's got this brogue toe cap, and something a little different about this from the other PNW makers that for like their heritage boots, it's a genuine toe cap. Uh, so it's a whole separate piece of leather, and you can kind of see it there, that whole piece of leather on top of the flared out stitch down section. So yeah, that's cool. Um, Gives a little more bulk to the front of the boot there at the toe. But yeah, just really separate and distinct from the other P&W makers, and I think that's pretty cool. And we can look at some other boots, give you a better idea of the shape of this MP95 last. What do we got? So this is uh, the 1339 from Wesco. Um, I haven't really worn this yet. I've just kind of slipped it on to make sure of sizing and stuff. But you can look at it here. The toe shapes are are really similar. Um, the MP95 is 11.5D, and then the 1339 is 12E, is what it's marked. And you can see the MP95 is slightly wider uh, up in the toe box. See it there, but they are kind of similar. The 1339 is just narrower everywhere. You can kind of, I don't know if you can see it there, but it looks slightly wider at the ball. The MP95 last does, and the 1339 is more narrow back here, just more narrow everywhere. And this is a 12E, and this is 11.5D. This is a White's MP on the MP last, and 11.5D. And you can see the MP95 last is just wider, uh, just about everywhere, except it narrows down a lot more through the back half. You can see just a lot more narrow. Kind of great for me. I love lasts like that. You can see the profiles of them there. Uh, the MP95 lasts pretty similar as far as the height of the toe box. Um, the genuine toe cap makes it look taller than it actually is, because you've got that whole piece of leather sitting on top of it, so it would probably be pretty close as far as volume goes in the toe. But yeah, just a little wider for the MP95 last, and pretty similar amounts of taper at the very end of it there. This is a Viberg 2030. You can see the Viberg is just pointier and more narrow. This is an 11E for the Viberg. That's that's what they look like. The Viberg in it, like wearing it, you can feel like the volume of the. It's not as flat. Oops, not as flat. And you can feel that when you wear it. Like I could move my toes a lot easier up and down in them. Yeah, that's Viberg 2030. Then here it is compared to a Viberg 1035. The 1035 is a lot more round in the toe. Maybe not as much taper on this side of it, but it looks pretty similar. Maybe a little less the taper on that side too. But yeah, just a lot more round. Here's a H&W from NYX. This is a structured toe. You can see it's just a little less pointy there, a little more narrow at the ball. And you can see the toe on the structured H&W is just taller, a little more bulbous. It's a little, the H&W is, I would say, slightly more wide for this back half. Like it's definitely looser in the heel for me, and through here through the arch also. And then here it is compared to an unstructured H&W. So yeah, that's what the unstructured H&W looks like. See the side profiles of them there. Even after this, the H&W is flattened a little. It still looks a little higher in the toe. And yeah, just a lot better feeling, like moving your toes around with that extra volume in there. And here's uh, the Parker 602 last. This was the collab that they did with NYX. That's what the shapes look like there. Uh, volume wise, kind of similar. Maybe the Parkers might be a little taller in the toe. Maybe not as flat. You see, it's a little wider in the ball. You can't really tell here, but it's wider through the back half also. But yeah, those are some different lasts. You know, if you were looking at a boot like this, maybe some other things that you would probably think about getting. Um, yeah, so I bought these as they were like a stock run. If you try to do a custom through Wesco, those what are those? They're probably around almost 2 years, somewhere around 2 years or something like that. There's no way I would ever do something like that. Uh, I wouldn't wait 2 months for a boot like this. I mean, it's a cool boot and everything, but not not good enough, I think, in my opinion, to wait for it. All the Wescos I have been like stock boots that I've bought. Um, yeah, I wouldn't wait any amount of time really um, for a boot from them. Just just because I think I like the other PNW makers more, like as far as construction goes. Um, the Wescos can look kind of rough, like the upper stitching is a little more coarse. The finishing on this when I first got it, it again looked a little rough. Um, but other than that, you know, they're nice boots. I would definitely pick up interesting makeups that are stock through shops. But yeah, I wouldn't wait though. And you know what? Wescos are generally less expensive than the other PNW makers, which is a big plus. Like if you looked at some other PNW makers that had Maryam horse, those are generally a lot more expensive. Like Frank's has some Maryam stuff, and you're looking, geez, probably close around $800 or something for a boot from them that has Maryam horse leather. So yeah, I think I can't remember if these were 700 or maybe like high sixes. Somewhere, I think it was somewhere around there, but yeah, pretty decent deal for them, I think. They came with kilties. West Coast kilties, I think, kind of look like a squid. Like they're kind of just generally skinnier in the back, and they come out and flare a lot. Uh, I just cut these. But yeah, they've been a great boot. I like them for what they are. I do have I've bought like a plain toe version of this, not of this, but like it's got different leather. But yeah, yeah, cool boot. It's cool looking. The leather's really nice. It's held up well. Yeah, cool boot. That's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll catch you in the next one.